What's up, guys? This is Marcia here with another episode of the Lady Strong Fitcast, and I have February member of the month. Here are her and I. We're going to be talking about how she lost 21 pounds in 7 months.
So the big question is this. How were two women who didn't cheat and purchase a gym franchise model, how were they able to spread their mission and purpose by empowering and transforming hundreds of women's lives through fitness, nutrition, mindset, and accountability with a micro gym business model of women only? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answer. We are Lady Strong Fitness.
Kira, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well. Is it 21? Is that to be exact? Is it 21 pounds?
Actually, I'm at 27 right now and hopefully reaching up to the 30 by next week.
Oh my God. I went off of your bio. So your bio said 20, well, it said like 20 plus to be exact. So 27.
Yeah, so I guess I did round down instead of up because it was kind of in between that weigh-in from this week. And so I dropped more from this past week. And so, yeah.
I love it. Every pound counts. Let's not leave that out. So I know who you are, but for the audience that's tuning in today, can you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm Kira Price, and I've been with LSF for 7 months now. So I started in August. I'm also a bowler. I started when I was 5 years old and haven't stopped. I compete on various levels in bowling, which is a lot of fun. Most times it keeps me moving. And then I also introduced jujitsu in October. So I'm a very active person. I also love to read books. So that's kind of my caveat of when I have my downtime, I'm reading. For the most part, I don't really sit and watch TV too much. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm just like a really busy person. I like to be busy and doing things and learning things because if I'm not uncomfortable, something's wrong, right? Like I got to make myself uncomfortable. Otherwise, life just gets boring.
Very cool. So I have to ask you, in August, why did you decide to join Lady Strong Fitness?
So that would be Danielle's fault. We were actually playing bingo at like a local bar one night, and she's like, yeah, so I saw this ad on Instagram, joined Lady Fitness, and I think she'd been there maybe 2 months by the time we had sat down and talked, and she's like, you can come with me, it's a free first class, and I decided to do it, and I did. And then I did the 6-week transformation program, which you ended up coaching me for a chunk of it, which was great because that's how we kind of got introduced to each other. So I thought that was fun. But then I saw like the real you come Christmas, and we were both very savage, very competitive people. And I think we related on that a lot more. So it brought me a little more into the fold every single time. Like I spent more time with Dawn, Danielle, you, Brittany. So it kind of just, that community built a lot.
Yeah, I like that. So I have to ask, were you at all skeptical about joining? Because most people are, and if you were, it's okay. And if you were, why were you skeptical?
So I was skeptical based upon the fact that I had to take breaks in between that first class. And I was like, oh my God, how long is it going to take me to be able to do these workouts nonstop like these other girls are doing? And it was more fear than anything. The program was great. And I was like, all right, cool. I'm not comfortable in my body right now. I'm not comfortable being in a regular gym anymore because I used to weightlift in high school and I was really close with the wrestling coach who did the weightlifting. So weightlifting is in my past. I know it, but there's so many new things that have happened in like that community, and new knowledge has come out. So I didn't know how to lift properly anymore. Like I could have hurt myself, etc. So it was like the fact that I didn't have to go to my gym, a local gym, and do it myself, figure it out myself, and rely on nobody. I could come in here, learn the right way, go through the program, and figure it out that way, which was more beneficial for me. So that's why I saw like, okay, this is going to work. By the end of class, I was like, you know what, I just got to do it. Because otherwise I'm not going to, or I'm going to do it wrong. I'm going to hurt myself. And that was not the goal.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I want you to try to paint a picture for our women, because most women that come in, they start off with the 6-week program, which is what you did. Tell us about your results, because I want to put a lot of emphasis on your weight loss because most women struggle with that. So if you can share some tips on how you were able to do that. So let's do like milestones. Your 6-week, what did you end up doing there? Kind of give us like a milestone of each and what that looks like in hopes to help other people.
Absolutely. So my first 6-week program was a struggle because I didn't change my eating habits right away. I knew we had the meal plan. I was very comfortable in how I ate, when I ate, etc. I kind of let my day dictate my eating habits instead of my eating habits dictating my day. And so I had to flip that switch. But I didn't do that until probably December, to be honest.
Wow.
So the 6-week program, I lost, I think, like 7 or 8 pounds. But I gained a lot of muscle because it was very much repetitive in that like strength training instead of adding all that cardio in. And then with the classes coupled with it, then I started to see more results in like my stats as far as the waist and all of the inches coming off while I was gaining that muscle. Because I gained, I want to say it was like 3% ish in muscle around that time from like those 3 months or roughly 3 months. So that was really nice. And I will say it's hard to get into it mentally. And then in December, it was like something clicked. I know we had, I don't remember if it was you or Brittany, but someone had put out that 80-20 method. And that's what made it click for me. A lot of it was clean eating for me and moving over to not carnivore, but like a carnivore based diet instead of just things and stuff and protein and just shoving it all in, you know? So when I started thinking more carnivore, I'm just like, okay, vegetables, meats, and then sprinkle in carbs and fat and stick with my macros, or at least as close to my macros as possible.
Yeah.
It became a lot easier. So I don't romanticize food anymore. I don't care, you know, like it is what it is. I'm going to eat when I need to eat, and I'm just going to go about my day because that's what it is. And I have since probably January changed to more of a 90-10 method. Okay. Because I don't care as much about what's going on. And then if I am like, okay, we're going out for pizza with family, of course I'm going to have pizza. I'm not going to like limit myself on that part in the mindset, but it's because of the events that I allow myself that 10, not because I'm craving, because I don't crave anymore. I don't really have that, like, I need sugar, I need salt, etc. But if I do, okay, I allow for it, but it just doesn't happen like it used to. So that mindset changed. Then everything started to fall into place, and it was like 3-4 pounds a week. Sometimes it would be a level week here and there, or about a pound. But the past 2 months have just really started falling off, and I've been pushing myself harder. I noticed like I get what I call crackhead energy. It's like from 2:00 in the afternoon till probably 7 or 8 at night, I'm like ready to do something. And I think a lot of that has to do with my schedule now, where I work out around 5:00. Sometimes into like 7:00. So I eat right. The energy's there. I'm ready to go. I don't want to sit at my desk anymore. It's time to go. So I enjoyed it.
That's so cool. So you put a lot of emphasis around nutrition. And I know it sounds so boring and most people don't want to hear, but it's like the biggest piece to the puzzle. I want to share something. So we had some women that came off of the challenge, the 6-week challenge, did really great. They stopped doing what was working for them, which was the nutritional side of things, put the weight back on, did an in-body scan, got frustrated, and then was like, why aren't I losing weight and getting results? It's like, okay, well, clearly something has changed. What are you doing differently? And it's like one of those things where you said, it's like you were being mindful of what you were doing. And I think that you need to have self-integrity and really ask yourself honestly, am I doing all the things I need to do in order to be successful at the end of the day? Because most people are really quick to blame other people versus themselves. So you took accountability. So shout out to you for doing that. I appreciate you sharing that. Now I want to talk about, and I'm going to give you a shout out myself, is girl, you are strong. Like I've seen you personally one-on-one. I had the opportunity to work with you, but do you find that that is also a contributing factor to your fitness and wellness journey, getting the results that you have? And if so, how and why? Like, how do you tell yourself, or when do you decide to, I'm going to lift heavier? Because I think that's also a piece that most women need to do and they don't do. So if you want to share that, please do so.
Okay. So that is a hard one. I noticed that in morning sessions, I needed someone else to kind of push me sometimes. You were very good about that. And at night, every once in a while, Dawn will do that as well. And she's amazing. She makes you feel so welcome in her classes. I would go in, and I can say just from a Strong Her 45 class a couple weeks ago, I picked up 25s for shoulder presses. We were on the bench, and I'm just doing this, right? She comes up, she looks, she goes to the rack, grabs 30s. Next set, I do 30. Right. I get up the next time, grab 35s. So it's just that like, right. So it's that motivation of like, I might be feeling lazy today. Dawn's not going to let me be lazy. And then I'm not going to let me be lazy on top of her like pushing me. So I knew I could push. I went up 10 pounds. Great. I went home feeling awesome. And a lot of that also breaks down to the nutrition. I don't have the energy when I'm not eating right. So I'm not going to put 110% in. I'm going to put in 80%. So it's like once I made that switch, I'm like, okay, I noticed that I will go grab those 30s or 35s off the rack first. And then if I have to go lighter, I'll go lighter. Or if I need to go heavier, I can go to the rack and go heavier. But there's that support system at LSF where they're like, we're just going to put it down in front of you. You're going to do it. Like, right? Because they know you well enough. They know me well enough.
I really like that. So it's like you push yourself at the end of the day. And if you don't push yourself, somebody else is going to push you, which is good. I like that a lot. I think that most people need to push themselves and they don't push themselves hard enough. So the next time, for whoever is listening in on that, take Kira's advice. If you think you can lift heavier, don't even hesitate. Just like she did, just walk up, grab the other weights and go at it. And like you said, if you can't do it, what's the fault of trying, right? At least you know, but it doesn't hurt until you try. So I think that's a huge piece to the puzzle as well. I like to end each episode with asking one question. Now, this question could be for people that's maybe already in the studio, but they're still struggling to like break that threshold, or maybe someone that's really on the fence about starting their fitness and wellness journey and or starting Lady Strong Fitness. What piece of advice do you have for them? It could be anything whatsoever, but I'm sure you got something, some nugget that you could provide for them.
Honestly, make yourself uncomfortable, because that is the one thing that has gotten me to LSF. It's the one thing that got me into jiu-jitsu. And granted, the first month or two of both of them was very uncomfortable, but I left every day either excited or like I learned something. And it made that journey a little bit easier, even if I was like shaking in my boots to walk in the door each day. One day it clicked and I was like, I'm not nervous anymore. I'm not scared. I don't care. I'm here. And I showed up and I didn't even think twice about it anymore, because that's what it is. You make that schedule, you get uncomfortable, then you start to love it.
I love that. I think that's very cool. So I'm going to share a story if you don't mind. So my niece.
Absolutely.
My niece is in gymnastics. She just started in December. Hadn't ever done gymnastics ever. She was so good. She went from first level, second level, third level. She's already at novice. She's already competing. And shout out to my niece. She's going to state. And there's one thing I tell her every single time she goes into, she trains like a professional athlete. It's crazy, like every single day. And I tell her, when you get uncomfortable, do you know what that means? And she's like, no, TT, what does that mean? I said, that means you're growing. And she's like, oh. And I said, you know what it means when you are comfortable? And she's like, no, TT, what does that mean? I said, that means you're not growing. So I always tell her, she's like, oh, so I'm like, hey, I'm like, are you uncomfortable? She's like, yeah, I'm growing, TT, I'm growing. I'm like, good. So get uncomfortable being uncomfortable. So I love that you said that, because that's the first thing that I thought of, is that little thing I share with her. So that's really cool. So get comfortable being uncomfortable, ladies. You heard it first. You heard it from the horse's mouth. Someone who has been really successful inside the studio. And it hasn't even been a year. And it gets me really excited to see like what the next like 4 to 6 months brings. So shout out to you. Well-deserved February member of the month. So with that being said, ladies, thank you so much for tuning in of another episode of the Lady Strong Fit Cast. Have a blessed day, and we catch you on the next episode. Take care, guys. Bye.
Thanks for joining us today. If you like this episode, subscribe to our YouTube channel or find our podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, or whatever your favorite place is to listen to podcasts. And if you really liked this episode, please leave a review for us on iTunes. Thanks, and we'll see you next week.